What's up, people? Today I'm going to be doing a workout outside. Let me show you the digs. There's this nice little spot on my campus that I've been working out with, and I think it's really cool, so I figured I'd record it and show you guys what I'm doing. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm flopping around like one of those inflatable dudes you see at the car sales lot, and I'm just lubing up my joints, getting loose. I will say that I did bike to this place, so I was already a little warmed up. But whoa, what is he doing now? I'm crawling on the floor like a bear. It's called a bear crawl, and I really like doing these to start because it's a full body workout and puts a lot of pressure on my wrists, my shoulders, and surprisingly a lot in like my quads and hamstrings. But yeah, I find it really effective. And then here I'm doing these things called crab reaches. I guess it kind of looks like a crab. I'm not sure why they call it that, but I feel like these are really effective for opening up my back and activating my hamstrings and kind of just getting full body coordination. Alright, now on to the second part of my warm-up. Here I coming in carrying the kettlebell. Right now I'm using 15 pounds. So you just try it out. Use whatever you're most comfortable with. You don't want it too light where it's not effectively engaging your deltoids, but not too heavy where you're actually grinding. So these are called kettlebell halos. You want to take the kettlebell and hold it by the horns and swing it around your head as close as you can while not letting it drop below your shoulders, collarbone area. Kind of just swinging it around like that. It's really good for warming up the shoulders. I honestly feel like for me, shoulders are one of the most susceptible areas for injury if they're not properly warmed up. Especially like my rear delts and my scapulas. Here I'm just kind of swinging them around, kind of just getting everything activated and getting used to momentum and heavier weight. Yeah, just swinging it out. I like my warm-ups to be pretty casual, just warming up my mind as well as my body, getting in the right mindset to really push myself and suffer. Alright, here we go. First working set of the day, explosive broad jumps. So this day I did 4 sets of 3 consecutive broad jumps. And then moving on, this was very challenging for me. There's a single arm kettlebell swings to the overhead. They're not quite cleans, but I guess a variation. I did 40 pounds, which might have been a little too heavy to be honest, but I was feeling a little ballsy. It's just how I roll. So I really wanted to push myself, and this is my first time actually doing them, no lie. So I'm a novice when it comes to these, so if you feel like giving me any form tips, go ahead. But really making sure I hinge at the hips, not going too low into a squat, and trying to use my arms as little as possible, kind of making it like a full body flow movement so I can effectively learn to transfer power from the ground up. And here I usually rest between like 2 minutes, 3 minutes between every set. Actively work on dropping my pelvic floor and loosening the brace around my stomach. Just getting all loose. I don't like to stay too tight. I feel like it gives me chronic stress. And here we go into my upper body part of the workout. starting off with some explosive pull-ups. I like to imagine myself pulling the bar down as quick as possible and then lowering myself as slow as possible. Not as slow as possible. I could go slower than that, but you know, to the point where I'm fighting on the way down. And it was a really nice day, actually. There's a little bit of breeze. You can see it in the bushes. So I was feeling really good. The sun was out. Such a nice area to work out. I put some tape on the bars to make it a little easier to hold. And then I'm between my pull-ups, I'm waiting about like 15 seconds, and then I'm going into some hanging leg raises, where I'm making sure I'm not carrying any momentum, using my core only to bring my legs to the bar. Here you can see I'm fighting pretty hard on this one. Here's another angle of the pull-ups. I just thought I'd record this way, just for some variation in what you're seeing. For this set, I really try to focus on using my lower lats, so almost keeping my scapulas engaged and pulling up and back. I find that my lower lats are one of the harder areas of my body to grow, so right here you see I'm just like getting the pump in, burning out. Getting loose before my lower leg raises. And this one this is my last set. So I guess I should give you some context. For each of these movements, I'm doing 4 sets, basically to failure. To the failure, to the point I feel like I can push myself without injuring something or like overcompensating. Here I'm really grinding. I'd like in the future to go slower on the way down. These are killer. And if you can't do them hanging, I'd recommend that you start on some parallel bars or somewhere you can hold yourself up where you're not hanging, so you don't have to engage your core as much. One of my all-time favorite movements right here, the dip. You know, they say the dip is the upper body squat, and I'd recommend dips for anyone who's trying to get a bigger chest, bigger shoulders, triceps. Here I'm doing the tucked variation, leaning forward with my chin tucked to my collarbone to get maximum chest activation. And here's another way you could do it if you're not quite up to the tuck variation. Here I'm really just grinding out on these. Feeling pretty good. That was my 4th one. So I think I got a pretty solid chest pump. And this is my last, but probably one of the hardest movements that I have done before is the front kettlebell walking lunges. I'm using 40 pounds in each arm here and racking it on my shoulders to give a little instability, so I'm activating my core, making sure that my posture is good as can be. I should say that I want to go back to the dips. Make sure that your shoulders are back and down, kind of like you're holding a pencil between your shoulder blades, so you really get the maximum chest activation. At least that's what I'm going for. My chest is pretty hard for me to grow, I'd say. And these had me clapped. These walking lunges, they were very hard, but very rewarding. I ended up only doing 3 sets, which I'll say later, but Yeah, you could see how dead I am. I was seeing stars. That one kicked the crap out of me. Holy shit. Alright, that was pretty much it. I think it was a great workout today. I'm feeling really clapped. I was gonna do one more set of the walking lunges, but the first lunge that I went down for felt like I was gonna rip my hamstring off, so decided to call it at 3. But still a great workout, feeling good. I hope you enjoyed and got inspired to go outside.